of building on that, then I think what we've witnessed in the past year or so is companies stepping into an interesting role that sometimes has been played by government. And as the prior administration in the U.S. had started to roll back environmental regulations, it was interesting to see that there were also even a corporate backlash to it. Even companies saying, "Hey, wait a minute, this isn't the direction that we need to go in." We see that also on social issues, that companies are beginning to step in. It's a topic that you've written about eloquently. Why do you think companies are doing that? And, what's changed maybe from the past?
Yeah, this is something I've thought a lot about, including when I was at TNC, and I've written about it in my newsletter. Can I plug it? My newsletter, The Instigator, is on Substack. Please subscribe. It's free, and I work hard at it. Anyway, I would say the big thing, guys, that CEOs and leaders have to think about is, when should we speak up on kind of societal issues, including the environment, but perhaps Black Lives Matter or voting rights? When should we speak up and when not? How to think about that. And then maybe even more importantly, when should we fight and push and lobby for the government policy we need? Let's talk about that first. So again, at the very start of this discussion, I said government policy is ultimately the most important thing we need. And it's been very frustrating on the environmental front, but also on many other fronts. We haven't been doing well getting the policy we need, in my view. I suppose people can debate that. And it's not just a US challenge either. And then, what else do we know? Oh, we do know everybody complains, not everybody, many people complain about there being too much money in business and too much corporate lobbying, which I think is probably true. So then you have these companies who are saying, hey, we want to do the right thing about the environment, blah, blah, blah. Maybe they're even doing the right thing about the environment even better. And so what we have to ask those leaders then is, or push them if they don't just voluntarily choose to do it. If you say you're for a price on carbon, say, as a climate policy, then we think you're obliged, when you do your other lobbying, to push for that. And I think it will really make a huge difference if that happens. And it is beginning to change. It's hard to know what's really happening because that's happening behind closed doors on Capitol Hill. But I used to ask the senators I knew. I live here in Washington, D.C., and they used to tell me, Mark, it's not happening. Your favorite companies who are doing all this good thing, when they come see us, they're not talking about climate policy. And so I went to those favorite companies of my mind and I asked them, and they said, you're right. Privately, they said to me, you're right. We'll do more. And recently, there's been some public good evidence, I think, that companies are doing more. But I think we have some ways to go there. So the best companies, I hope, will push for the policies that we need. I think it is a little bit complicated for them. They've got a variety of things they want to bring to regulators' attention. This is one more. But anyway, that's right. We're asking them to put one more on the list. And then, companies really dread getting involved in these partisan issues. But I don't think they have to make it partisan. At TNC, we were nonpartisan. Occasionally in the Trump era, I was criticized because I sounded like I was partisan. And I always said, sorry, you're probably right. It was hard to be nonpartisan sometimes. But I think companies can do this stuff on a nonpartisan basis, and they should. I also think it's appropriate for them to speak up on environmental issues or social issues as appropriate. I just wrote, my last newsletter was on this topic. I would say this is a topic that reasonable people can disagree on. It is a little bit of a slippery slope. When should you speak up? When not? I focus more on environmental issues. And I said, look, if environmental issues are germane to your business success, and if you have serious environmental initiatives underway, and then even more, if your stakeholders really care about this stuff, I think that's a good occasion to speak up and go for it. But I say that as an environmentalist. So of course I would push them to do that. And even in response to my newsletter, some people came back and reasonably disagreed with me. So these are complicated things. None of this, anybody who says this is simple is, I think, is missing the nuance.
Yeah.
But the good news is leaders understand their stakeholders mostly want them to do more of this. It mostly makes business sense. It does require some careful thought and deliberation. But look, again, that's what business leaders are paid to do. And I'm excited and feeling positive about the progress.